Hey y'all, it's Ashley Canott.
And I'm Blair Nodine, and we're Joy in the Junk.
The podcast where we bring our whole selves to the table.
Mess and all.
And find Jesus right in the middle of it.
We're two women seeking truth in Scripture, hope in the hard places, and joy that doesn't wash away when life gets muddy.
So pull up a chair, grab your coffee or sweet tea, and let's talk life, faith, and all the junk in between. Because with Jesus,
there's joy that lasts. It's Joy in the Junk. Welcome to the table. We're glad you're here.
Hey.
Hey, girlie, how are you?
I'm good. I feel like I haven't seen you in like a hot minute. Well, it has been a hot minute.
It has been a minute. It really has. Yeah.
I'm glad to be here.
I want to get into it because my joy's a little long. Is that okay?
Yeah, go ahead.
So it is, you remember when we talked about cracked pots, not cracked pot, but cracked pots?
Yeah.
So a sweet one, Renee, who watches our podcast, she sent me a message on October 10th at 5:55. She said, I wanted to share a story with you about cracked pots. I keep saying that instead of cracked pot. Just putting it out there. You should have laughed there, but that's okay. So the day before your podcast aired, I had a conversation with a good friend of mine about being leaky vessels, which is hysterical. She was complimenting me my desire to serve the Lord, and I responded that I'm glad she sees the light in me because I feel like a cracked pot. And this is the day before our podcast. I mean, how does God work?
Yeah.
I never knew or thought about how God will use those cracked pots to shine. So anyway, she was talking about a Sunday school class she was going to teach. She wasn't really prepared, but she had a book and she hadn't really looked at it. And because the kids were on fall break. So anyway, she pulled out this lesson. She had a book, never looked through it, was flipping through the pages. And sure enough, she landed on the page that said cracked pots. I about fell out at that point. So then the next one, the story is about a servant who carries these two pots to his master every day. And he was giving him all he had, 100%, as hard as he could work. But he could never have two full pots because one of the pots was cracked. So he kept doing this, and he finally apologized and said, listen, I'm doing the best I can, but my pot's cracked. He said, you didn't notice the flowers up both sides? He said, I knew your pot was cracked, and so I had planted seeds.
Oh.
And absolutely, see, you didn't have to, I started crying when I read that. And then we had a long conversation. I could go on forever what we talked about. But the point that we're supposed to let our light shine, get it? And to go one step further, Jennifer, who I called the crackpot, I happened to run into her to Walmart, and she gave the same information that this Renee gave. It's how God meshes things together to wink at me and say, hey, you're doing what you're supposed to do.
Right.
Do you know? And I think, so my joy is Renee, honestly, this week. She is my joy because we got to brag on Jesus for so long. Because it went even further is I'm speaking next Monday. And I'm speaking on, the lady asked me, she said, well, we're making these ornaments. We're going to do something on light. And I said, well, Matthew 5:16 immediately, let your light so shine before men that they may see your good works and glorify your Father in heaven. So it was literally a full circle moment. And I appreciate that because we're talking about junk in the closet, and that is a tough one for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, mine was a little longer. Sorry about that.
It's okay. No worries. I guess my joy this week was, it was kind of a little crazy at first, but I got to speak at a church Saturday and paint with them. And, I was kind of struggling on what I should speak. I called you like in a panic. I was about to literally puke.
There were tears involved.
It was a lot of tears. It was very just, it was very hard for me because I'd known about this for months and months and months. And it just seemed like every time I would try to get back, the Lord just never would settle. And I'm just a firm believer of I don't stand before people unless it's something the Lord's given me because I have to answer for that when I stand before him. So I want to make sure that what I give is from the Lord. And so I literally heard him say, not maybe audibly, but in my spirit, leave the iPad at home. And I'm one of these people that writes out everything like word for word. I've told you that before, but I write out everything word for word when I'm speaking, just because even though I may not use it that way, it's just the way my brain processes things. And so I did that. I was like, I got all my notes wrote out. I left the iPad at home, got up there, said what the Lord laid on my heart. And the joy was just the women that came up to me and said, this is exactly what I needed to hear today. Thank you so much. I was honest with him. I was like, look, I feel very unprepared. I feel very unsettled. And even that word unsettled came up in my spirit before I got there. And and I was talking with one of the ladies, and she was like, yeah, there's a lady here that she's in limbo right now, and she's going to be coming. And she was telling me her story, and she's unsettled. So it was just this very again, full circle thing where, and I know, listen, I knew the Lord was going to give me something, but in the moment, that still doesn't make you feel good when you know, like, I'm leaving it up to the Lord. Not that he's not capable, but I so don't want to make the Lord look bad. But then I go, well, he's not going to let me make him look bad. But you know what I mean? It's that blind faith that sometimes we go, no, I'm just going to take it just in case. But I left it at home and I had nothing.
Oh, listen.
And it was crazy because my GPS wasn't even working on the way up there. It was literally so many things that morning that it was just like, I left there crying. Like, I left there just in tears and so emotional. And there were other things that happened that I don't have time to get into today, because I know we want to get into what we're talking about. But I was so overwhelmed with joy and just the Lord and what he can do when we just fully trust him.
That's the kicker, is
trusting him completely. So yeah.
Got it.
But yeah, so it was good. It was good stuff.
So you know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Junk in the closet.
This one's tough. Like, this one is a hard one because I feel like people don't like to talk about the things that they got hid in the closet. Yeah.
The secret, what is,
we
named
stuff.
It secret struggles, shame, and bringing things into the light, unpacking the hidden messes. So listen, I texted you the other night and told you this one was really tough for me.
Yeah.
Flat out. My mind goes all over the place here. And secrets, I don't know, mine's kind of came to light. I mean, I had my 15 minutes of fame plus some, with my testimony, but that is not the only secrets. Meaning there's things that in my life that, listen, I have toted my testimony around. I have toted it. I have hid it in closets. I have shown it for the whole world to see. Do you know what I mean? It is heavy baggage.
Right.
And I don't mind. And I share it because if I can reach someone, God, listen, whatever we do, God uses our pain. He uses our suffering, and he uses our joy.
Absolutely.
So I know there's a purpose and a reason. I don't share too much because I don't want it to just draw attention to me. I think that's another reason.
But I also think that it would be a good opportunity right now, though, for you to kind of tell people that don't know your testimony what it is in a quick, little package right quick.
Thank you for that.
I'm not throwing you under the bus, but
I
think there's people that need to hear it and see that. Because I'm gonna be honest with you, if when I first met you and you told me your testimony, I was like, there's no way. This lady's so put together. She's so poised. She just, there's just no way that this is her testimony. Yeah. But that's how the Lord works.
For sure.
So, and I think it's important for you to share it. So go ahead.
Well,
share it now.
If I'm I just snorted in the microphone. I apologize. When I get really laughing, I snort. But anyway, that's another subject.
Quit avoiding it. Go ahead.
I'm not avoiding. But anyway, I do want to tell you this about Matthew 8, though, and this is going to talk about the darkness. These are some things I wrote down from the Bible, and it's how it identifies darkness. Darkness is a person, which is Satan and his minions. Number 2, it's a power. It's spiritual darkness. It can control our thoughts and our actions and our attitudes. Right. Now, the Bible talked about, too, we know John 10:10, the devil comes to kill, steal, and destroy. I know that. But where this is going is, it was kind of more about the unbeliever, but the believer, me, can still fall into that same trap. Mm-hmm. I give him power over me, which I did on, all those 20 some odd years ago. The next is, it's a preference, which is the hardest for me because I did that. It became a preference for me because what I thought I could do is just live this life, living for the moment, enjoying everything and having this hall pass. Right. Well, you know what? There's consequences for those choices. Mm-hmm. Hence mine. So to start out, I could go into huge detail about my testimony, but I have so many testimonies to the goodness of God. What I recognized was my testimony is not about how bad I am, but it's about how good my God is.
Right.
I made some choices. I have had many relationships, been married several times, and we'll leave that there because I don't need to talk about them. But I need to talk about me in those relationships. And so I starved for a relationship. Still to this day, it's one of the things that I keep in a size 8.5 shoebox in my closet. I just crave relationship. Mm-hmm. And so anyway, I did whatever I could to keep a relationship. And doing that, I broke the law. guilty as charged. And I was arrested for breach of trust. And so went to court, and and I could go on, the story of going to court and all that kind of stuff, and my sweet Rick. But the judge hit the gavel and he sentenced me to 10 years and for breach of trust, and suspended it to 2. So I spent 23 months in one day. I made parole. Of course I made parole. But anyway, but I spent 23 months in one day in a maximum security prison. Being bipolar, you have medication, and they still, to this day, we don't know why they put me in the maximum security in Newberry and or Greenwood, not Newberry. And we to this day, we don't know, because I was a nonviolent offender, and honestly, when I'll never forget when I made parole and was on probation, and I was paying my probation every month and all that stuff, faithful. I mean, I don't break rules. You know that now. I don't break rules at all. But I was going, and even when I finished my probation, there was about 5 of them that came, and they said, no one's been treated the way you were. And I kind of find that odd. He said that it's never happened this way before. And I don't want to put words in their mouth because it's been 20 years.
Yeah.
Because this happened years ago. But it's all these things that God wove in and out of it. Mm-hmm. So my hiding things and the closet and everything else, mine's out there because I spent that time in prison. But I think the biggest thing for me is, if that was the only place I was going to meet God, then that's what I needed.
And it was. That's where you met him. So
I don't know if you've watched The Chosen, when he talks about the women are sitting around the table, and so are the men, but they said if you hadn't, this is Mary Magdalene talking, and she says, if you had not taken the demons out, I can't paraphrase, but she said, if you hadn't taken the demons out, but you said my name, that would have been enough. And my enough is, if he saved me, but if he had not taken me out, if I was still there,
right,
it would have been enough.
That's right.
And that's a hard thing for people to fathom.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you something. There is nothing. Thanks, Keith. There is nothing that I would do any different. I wouldn't. Now, shame is a shackle to me. And that's, I've got all that stuff. That's one of my secrets and all that. And holding on to that shame. And I still hold on to it. God forgave me of it.
Right.
But he has protected me through all of it. He allowed it to happen. He allowed it. He didn't initiate it because he worked on me before that. Do you know what I mean? He worked on me before that. And, people will say, and prison, and I'm sure there could be people listening now and go, I might be done with this because of my testimony. And that's okay too, because there's people that are done with me because of it. There's consequences for the things, my actions. And I'm endure the consequences to this day. Mm-hmm. There's certain things I can't do because of the choices I made.
Right.
But I think for me to be able to share what God's done for me in this, where he met me right there, I was on the 3rd floor, the corner cell, and that pastor came in and shared the gospel. And I'd heard it before because I'd been to church before, but I heard the gospel. Mm-hmm. And I'll never forget holding those brown bar. Everything was brown. But I was holding those brown bars thinking, okay, you got to get up here. You got to get up here. And he did. And he put my hands in the Lord's. And I've been different ever since. And I survived what I should never, does this look like prison material? Mm-mm. But you know what? It's like the Pharisees in Luke. The Pharisees were all this when Jesus they were all up there, and Jesus was talking about the outside of your cup's nice and clean, but it's the inside. I look all nice and clean on the outside, but it was the inside was filthy. And God fleshed all that out. Mm-hmm. So it's not a secret. Obviously now I'm telling it to the world on the podcast, but I've told it, God didn't let me speak for 15 years about it, publicly, but now I speak at women's events all the time and share it. And I go into more detail, at the events. But I think the key to it is I don't have to hide that anymore. Of course, it was all over the newspaper and, all that kind of thing. But I'll be honest with you, I can't, and I don't want to change a thing because I wouldn't be where I am now.
Right.
I wouldn't be sitting here, so I took up the microphone a long time. But I think, when we have things that we hide away, things that we keep, secret and hidden. I'm not that. That's why I have the full transparency I have, not because of the prison part. I have the full transparency is because God has opened that door for me.
Right.
I mean, he wants me to share that, to show about his goodness, not my badness.
Yeah.
That's even a word.
And I don't think that we always have to go around telling the shameful parts of our life. And I don't mean it in that sense, but
is there blessing out of it? And it's drawing attention to God, not to me.
Right. Is there an instance if I tell you something that happened to me that's bad, or things that I did that I'm not proud of, is God getting the glory out of it? Or is it just for me to just say, I mean, I can go around and be like, yeah, I was a party animal and I did this and I did that. But is God really getting the glory out of that?
Mm-mm.
Usually, no.
Mm-mm.
So, I mean.
But he is for me. Spending 23 months in one day.
Absolutely.
Do you see what I'm saying? I think, and that's the reason I don't have a problem sharing it.
Right.
And there's other things, secrets that I hide and everything else. But when I really had to pray about this podcast. I'm not kidding, because I knew, and I don't mind talking about, my testimony or whatever, but there's so much more to it. And there's other secrets that we have, things that we tuck away. And it all boils down to the heart though. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? I think that's...
Well, and I think we all have things that we're not proud of that we've done.
Oh, yeah.
Even as believers, there's things that I've done being a child of God that I look back and I go, where was my heart at it in this moment? It wasn't on the Lord, of course, obviously, because I'm ashamed of it now. Is that something that I have to go and blast to everybody? No. If the Lord's forgiven me for it, I don't have to tell everybody about it. I don't, because I'm proud of it.
Right.
So there's not things that but there are things that I feel like sometimes we tuck away and we live in that closet. We live.
And there's no freedom in that.
There's no freedom there. Yeah. There's no freedom in living in your past and your regret and your shame.
Which is AKA darkness.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the closet's dark. When you shut the door on the closet, it's dark. When you shut the door on the refrigerator, there's no light in there until you open it up.
Right.
And so I guess that's a good, way to look at it sometimes, I guess. Like when I was looking at, all this stuff, I've been in Joshua for weeks and weeks and weeks. And mainly by like default, because I was teaching a Sunday school class on it. So I started reading it because we were studying it in Sunday school. And then I just got captivated by it. And it's crazy how the Lord works, because there's a story in there about a guy named Achan who decides he sees some pretty things that look really nice when they're in battle, and God says, do not take any of their plunder. Take none of it. Do not touch it. Leave it alone. Well, he sees a pretty like little robe and some gold and silver, and he says, oh, I'm going to take that. That's nice. That appeals to my eyes. And so he takes it, and what's he do with it? He goes and he digs a hole in his tent and hides it in his tent and buries it. Well, then they go to fight another battle, and some people get killed, and Joshua's upset because, oh my gosh, some of these people have died, and Joshua's thinking, Lord, you took your protection off of me. You've taken your hand off, a blessing off of us. And he doesn't understand. He doesn't know about Achan, but he should know. He should have thought in his mind, look, the Lord is good. So there's something else going on here. The reason that these men got killed, there's more to the story. So he, long story short, Achan ends up coming out. God says, bring out all the tribes. And, he confesses and tells that he has all that stuff hidden in his closet, in his tent. And they destroy it. And then Achan ends up getting killed right there on the spot for it. And I'm not saying that, oh my gosh, we keep things hidden up and we're going to get killed for it, but it does kill us spiritually.
And here it does kill us spiritually. Absolutely. But here's the thing. When I hide things, it's always going to surface. It's always going to come out
eventually.
It's whatever we cover, God uncovers.
That's right.
And knowing that now for years, I would cover, and I was good. I could be 6 lies in and I was good to go. But that 7th one, I'd get tripped up. But it was the kind of thing where there was always turmoil in my heart. There was always turmoil. I never had peace. Yeah. I'll be honest with you. The day I remember it, I'm not going to say what day it was. Just if you want to find out, you're going to have to Google it. But it was, But the day I was arrested, I slept that night, which sounds bizarre, but it was such a relief to be done.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It was such a relief for this to be done. Now, I knew what was coming. Everybody said, you'll never, everybody, and everybody said, there's no way you'll go for this. This happens all the time. You just pay back what you did. It's a slap on the hand and go on. That's not what happened.
God had a plan.
God had a plan.
That's right.
And that's the only way he could keep me where he needed to keep me.
Right.
Because I would have done it all over again. Yeah. Because I craved relationship. I would do anything and everything to keep a relationship. So what that boils down to, it was called worship. It was called idolatry. Right. I worshiped a person instead of God.
Yep.
And those are the things that we hide in our closets, just like Achan did. He hid those things, that plunder. What good did it do him? He had to hide it.
That's right.
What good is hiding things in the closet? Mm-hmm. It's like me buying something. I have a problem. I love cute stuff.
Same.
So I go and I'll pull it out, and Rick will say, God, I haven't seen that on you. I said, oh, you haven't? Dude, of course he hasn't. The tag was still on it when I pulled it out. So it's like I'm hiding it in the closet. Mm-hmm. Rick doesn't care that I have things.
Yeah.
He loves for me to have things. When he retires, it'll be a different ballgame. But so he never fusses or complains about that. So I don't have to hide whatever. But for all my life, I have had to, but I don't now. And that is where Jesus' joy came into play. That is why I have the joy of the Lord, because I don't have secrets anymore. Yeah. I don't have them.
Yeah.
And it's
so much easier when you live, because I've been there. I've lived this kind of double life, if for lack of a better word, if that's the way you want to say it, where you put on fronts and you try to be one way here and one way there. And it just doesn't.
I can't keep up with it.
You cannot keep up. And when I tell you that's the most stressful thing is when you try to be somebody that you're not, or you try to hide things and cover up things. That's the most stressful time you will ever have in your life, trying to I don't know how people do it on a daily basis, and eventually it doesn't work out. It crumbles, but it's just it's exhausting. It's so exhausting, and you cannot physically just keep it up because you get drained, not only spiritually. Yeah, you're drained spiritually, but you're drained emotionally,
which
mentally,
affects physical as well.
Physically, you're just so drained in all areas of your life.
And, I always talk about peace as my plumb line in life. Well, now people that here understand why. Right. Because there is no peace in sin. There's no peace.
No.
There's none. No. And even when I can't even say that because that's not even true. But it went so far off the rails, and it began. And can I blame it on my bipolar? People say, well, and granted, that does have something to do with it. When I chose to do things, a lot of times I was mannequin, but that's not an excuse I use. I know right from wrong.
Right.
We have common grace. Whether you're saved or not, you know right from wrong.
That's right. We have a moral compass.
We do have a moral compass. And people, they try to blame my precious Crystal. Listen, this woman in Florida had claimed bipolar when she had done something heinous with a student or whatever. She was livid. She called me just furious because she knows what bipolar looks like, because she knows me and she loves me. And it made her so mad because somebody was using that type of mental illness that didn't have it, thinking they could get out of something. So I never use the mental illness to get out of things.
Yeah.
I use it as, what, this is part of my life, and I still know what I'm doing, and sometimes I don't know what I'm doing. You know what I mean?
I never know what I'm doing.
Exactly. But
I mean, it's my life.
I get it. I
can't help it,
So sometimes it's almost, to me, my closet can almost be a security blanket, which sounds so horrible. But when I hide things or I hide me, do you know what I mean? It sometimes it makes life easier.
Yeah.
Just because I hide out and I can isolate.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, especially if I've done something or I need to apologize.
Well, and I think we live in a society too full of appearances. So one of the questions I wanted to bring to you was, do you think that Christians sometimes mistake clean appearances for real holiness? Oh. Because I feel like so many times that people live these fake lives, and we do it because we have an online platform. You know, we see that, you know, we see
I don't
it
like
on
to
a
post an
daily
ugly
basis.
picture. Can I be honest? I do not like to post a bad picture.
Yeah.
I
mean, no, I don't like it, but I mean, y'all listen.
You do
you
it.
Follow me, I do it all the you just literally said I do it. You just said I do it. Like,
what I mean is,
thanks, brother.
I really did.
I'm
just
done with you. Cut this podcast off right now. We're done. No.
I did just spew that out. That is, I didn't quite say what I wanted to say.
Oh, we're done.
I am so
We're
sorry.
Done.
I apologize. I didn't mean it. The way it came out, I was talking about your funny pictures that you did. I am so sorry. That is not.
I'm just aggravating you.
But it immediately came to my head. I'm backing up now, trying to redeem myself.
You're done.
I'm done. But you were very transparent. You'll post some where you'll say I'm a hot mess when you're paint. You've got paint all over you. That's transparency. That's transparency. And I'm not saying, you know, I've done silly. I had a mask on my face. Matter of fact, to the point where a pastor asked me one time at my last church, he said, "What was the point of that picture with you, that stuff on your face?" I mean, he asked me what. Yeah. There was no point. I was just being silly.
Right.
But where I was going with that, you are not. I mean, you were very honest with your situation or what you're doing. You show us your painting and everything else. If you've put on makeup that day, great. If you haven't, I mean, you kind of do funny faces in the camera. Let's be honest. You do some funny faces in the camera.
I mean, you know,
I mean,
I'm hilarious. What can I say?
Yeah, well,
you know,
I agree.
but no, in a really serious sense, like, I feel like we have become a society that we're like, as long as I look good on the outside, it doesn't matter what's going on behind closed doors.
Right.
With me, my family, my husband, my kids, I'm going to make it look great.
The holier than thou look.
And I'm going to make myself look holy when in fact I'm far from it, because, you know, and we could go down a whole nother rabbit hole about just, you know, at church, we all look good. You know, everybody comes to church. We look cute. We've got our best dress on, you know.
But if we could rewind 15 minutes, people are trying to get their kids in the car.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or trying to even get them out the door.
Absolutely.
Or getting somebody to come. Yeah.
And it's become almost to where we're okay with fake, and we're okay with hiding, and we're okay with not being authentic and real, and keeping things closed up under the impression of, you know, you don't need to know my business. But but let's flip it around and go, it's not that I want to know your business, but I also understand that we have to walk in you. I still want to walk in holiness, and I want to know the real you, not this fabricated version of who you want people to see.
And we were created for relationship. God calls us to relationship. If I wasn't and I'm not backing up here, this is in all seriousness. If I wasn't in a true, real relationship with you, our friendship, I would have never been able to say what I just said.
I mean, like, you said something to me on the phone the other day with some people at your church around.
And they were mortified.
They were like, "Oh my God, I can't believe you said that to her," you know. And then you got to question and calling me back and going, I didn't hurt your feelings." And I'm like, no, like, it really takes a lot to hurt my feelings, honestly. But
again, and I don't ever want to be, that's another one of my secrets that I keep in that 8.5 shoebox, is I got to be real careful, because I never want to hurt your feelings, but I'm always going to be honest. And I joke, and I'm not hysterical like you, but I do make myself,
thanks.
But
you gave me a
redeem myself, but I do make myself laugh. Do you know what I mean? I can laugh at myself.
I think I'm hilarious. A lot of people don't take me seriously because I try to be silly all the time. But I mean, I take my relationship with the Lord seriously. And if I speak, I'm serious. I like to make some jokes. But at the end of the day, I want to be the person, because I haven't always leaned into who God created me to be.
Right.
And that's hard sometimes when you feel like you can't lean into who God created you to be because you're going to be judged for it. And so we keep things in the closet. The fact that I like to be silly, well, I'm going to keep that back because somebody might not take me seriously when I say something serious. Well, I hope that you do take me more seriously when I say something serious, even though I like to kid around and be fun and have a good time. I hope that makes you go, well, when she is serious, she means it.
And I think that's discernment. We know when we can be silly, and we know when we can't.
Absolutely. I mean, I don't go around just being an idiot all the time.
No,
but
No, And see, I didn't say anything there. Can you share?
Man, she's on fire today.
Can you share a time when
we can't go this long without seeing each other, because she's being bad today.
Okay, listen. Can you share a time where honesty led to unexpected freedom? I can.
Yeah. Oh, well, definitely, for sure. I mean, yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think of a time off the top of my head where, on I think sometimes it's when you're honest with say a spouse, or, somebody that you're really close to. Like, I
Mm-hmm.
know I can be completely honest with my husband.
Yeah.
And say things to him that I normally could not say to somebody else,
Which is such a gift.
and I'm thankful for that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I can say things to him, and a lot of times he's my sounding board because he's the calm to my chaos.
Mm-hmm.
So I can be honest with him and know there's freedom there, and he's not going to go, Ashley, you're flipping insane, because he will tell me I'm crazy sometimes. He'll be like, you need to,
I'm in good company.
You need to chill out. Like, you're crazy, and but then I don't go and do that to somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
And then there be more, kind of pulling back or hurt or shame, because then I'm having to go and apologize because I said something to you that I shouldn't have said to you.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a few people in my life, you being one of them, I can call you and I can rant and rave, and then I'm good. I'm cool. Like, I'm good with it.
Yeah.
And I have, a handful of people like that I can just, like, I can fuss and bicker with and be good with it after we're done. And it's a venting session. Well, and you have to know that, those kind of people.
And you have to know that. And I think with you, and I've even learned, sometimes I'll know I need to text you. I'll let you soak it in. And then, because I know you're going to call.
These people are going to think Ashley is insane.
No, that is not true. But I think it's a great example of, we can be honest in our relationships. Not everybody you have that with. No. Of course, my forever freedom happened on April 15th, 2002, my forever freedom. And then right after that, Rick gets cancer. I mean, so everything and I wasn't home to take care of him. All these things that I see, because God knew what was coming down the pipe.
Right.
And he equipped me for every bit of it.
Yeah.
So I know that kind of freedom. Also the freedom of, like what you just said, being able to tell Kevin everything. I tell Nodine everything. There's nothing I can't tell him. Nothing. Right. And I'm going to be honest with you. I have searched for that my entire life. That is what I've sought, is relationship, open, honest relationship. Now, Donna, of course, she'd be the one to, I'll talk about bipolar sometime soon. But when I was mannequin, she'd pinch my elbow. What meant rein it in. Now, other people could pinch my elbow and I'd want to slug them. Like, it's none of your business. But it's the people that you trust. Yeah. And that you love can rein you in that way. Mm-hmm. So when I have things, when I try to hide things in the closet or leave it there, and the shame and things like that, because there's a lot of people I hurt some people bad, and they love me because God made them love me. Right. But a lot of them haven't let go. Yeah. And there's still people that whisper.
Well, but here's the thing. I think people hold on to our shame longer than we do sometimes. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like our family and our friends, they will hold on to our shame and the things that we done because of how it affected them. And it really doesn't matter to them, but they hold on to, you know what I'm saying? In the grand scheme of things, it doesn't really affect their life that much, but they hold on to that shame because it happened, in your case, maybe 20 years ago, so they're holding on to something from 20 years ago that really, you know what, it's done and over with. Why are you holding on to that?
This little epiphany at this moment, because when I look at that in the grand scheme of things, because of the choices I made, granted there's consequences, but I'm going to heaven now.
Right.
I would have been dead. Honestly, I would have, I'm from the mannequin all the time and everything else. I would have never gotten the help I needed. I mean, that's a whole nother testimony. When I got out, the help I had to get afterwards. Yeah. Do you know medication? I went toxic on the lithium that they had me on so all these things.
Yeah.
Do you know? So if I hadn't gotten saved, I obviously wouldn't be sitting here.
Right.
I'd have never married Nodine. I would, all these things. So would I change it? I wish it had come out sooner. Do you know what I mean? I wish I didn't have to endure those 40 years of suffering, because I was on a hamster wheel.
Yeah.
Over and over and over.
Well, and I think too, we forget that God sees everything anyway. Yeah. But, sure. We think we're hiding things from God sometimes, and we're we're keeping things from him when he knows every hair on our head, everything that we think we're hiding, he already knows anyway. We don't have to tell him. We don't have to, he knows it. And I think we get him twisted up sometimes with people, and we think that he's just, we don't see him, so he doesn't know what we're doing. We kind of put that in the back of our mind, so it makes it easier for us to do that. You know what I'm saying? It makes us easier to make stupid decisions and hide things from people and hide things from ourselves, because we think, well, gosh, Blair doesn't know what I'm doing, so God doesn't know what I'm doing.
Right.
And if Blair hasn't found out about it, then God doesn't. He'll deal with. I can just ask for forgiveness later. That's
the biggie.
That's a huge thing that, like, that's one of my pet peeves, is like when people say, well, I'll just ask for forgiveness
instead of permission.
Yeah. And it's like, no, like, that's trampling on God's grace. What are you doing? But that's our mentality and the way that we live our lives. And then we go, it's a vicious cycle.
Well, and one of my questions I had for you is, what's the difference between healthy conviction and destructive shame? I'm grateful for conviction. I went to Georgia. I spoke in Georgia, remember, a couple of weeks ago. And the best time. It took me 14 days to get there. That's what it felt like. And 17 to get home. But anyway, I enjoyed it so much. And, the Lord really showed out. And I was faithful to pray for him to show out. And just like you said on your joy earlier. And it was the kind of thing where the morning session was great. I mean, I was blessed, and that's pretty terrible when you're blessed by your own, whatever. But the Lord did it. It wasn't me. I mean, God had given me that stuff. But the afternoon, Ashley, it was so profound. It's like I stepped away and God just did what he did.
Right.
And I made one point, and it stirred somebody to frustration, which I'm good to do. People, I don't shy away from anything that Jesus says. And I made something. I said, well, I guess y'all are ready for me to stop. And the girl went, yeah. And one of the leaders felt terrible. And I said, do not ever feel bad. Listen, back when Keith and I talked a long time ago, somebody had said something negative about me. And Keith immediately called me and told me about it. And, to me, it's a badge of honor. It is an absolute badge of honor when something like that happens, because that means that God's doing what God came to do.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I've learned too, when some people say stuff about you, a lot of times it's not anything that you did. Sometimes your light aggravates the darkness in them. And that's
the uncovering.
And it's, it sounds like I'm saying, oh, well, I'm great and I'm holy and you're not. No, it's not that. It's just that we live in a dark world and people like to stay in the dark.
Mm-hmm.
They're okay with being in the dark.
Yeah.
They're okay with hiding in the closet. They're okay if nobody knows what they're doing or what's going on. And as long as they feel good about what they're doing, that's fine,
Right.
So,
but I loved it because, and our time's about up in it.
Yeah.
I loved it because God was shining through. The light of Christ was shining through this cracked pot.
Yeah.
And there's nothing sweeter to me.
Right.
There's nothing. I can't fathom no cute outfit from whatever else, but there's nothing that I ever want to take that away. Well, the joy of that.
And the thing is too, is like, I mean, when you get to a point to where you're like, I don't care as long as somebody sees Jesus in me, then that's when you go, okay, my job is done. I would much rather, I don't care if somebody thinks I'm cute. I don't care if somebody says, gosh, she needs to put some makeup on. I don't care if I don't comb my hair one day, but if they see the love and the joy of Jesus in me, that's all that matters at the end of the day. So that's where my heart goes.
When I pillow my head at night, like after we do a podcast and we talk about the Lord, like I sleep well.
Yeah.
There's something, and I enjoy the podcast. I really do enjoy doing this because we get to talk about Jesus.
Right.
Renee and I, when we went on and on, I had to quit. I had to teach my son. I had to work on my Sunday school lesson.
Yeah.
But she and I could have gone on forever just glorifying God.
Well, and I love hearing like the feedback from people, and it's not to like give us a big head and go, oh, we're doing something great. But we love hearing it.
That's a podcast in a couple of weeks.
But we love it because it motivates us to go, Oh God. Okay. Like literally, I mentioned that I was on a podcast this past Saturday when I was preaching, just telling them my story of how I got to where I'm at right now. And the girl goes, when you said podcast, I've been praying about doing a podcast for teaching and everything. And she said, that was my confirmation I've been praying about. And I'm like, literally something simple as that. That's how
awesome.
we, that's how the Lord will use, your voice to minister. So when it's just such a good, refreshing feeling when the Lord uses you to help somebody else.
Right.
And sometimes we don't even know it, but we love hearing when we do know it. So.
For sure.
But I know we got to get going with our junk. So tell me some junk.
Well, here's the thing. I kept thinking my junk today would be this podcast because the heart. But, and I didn't know I was going to share on my testimony today. Didn't have a clue till you asked. I didn't know I was going to do it. So I'm grateful for that. And my junk was going to be this episode because the hiding stuff is hard. And I didn't even have to talk about. That's the thing. I didn't even get to my secrets, the things that I have hidden, which is fine.
We got time. Go ahead and dish them out. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Lay them out there, girl.
Lay them out there. Let me just
I
put it in comments on Facebook all the time.
We'll just comment them all.
No, I am not going to do that. I'm not. But
we'll come back to your secrets to another episode, okay? The secret life of Blair No Dime.
Yeah, no, mine's pretty much out there. I have a couple of things that I try not to put out there all the time, but listen, I know you are.
There's a lot of things that I'm not proud of that I would not want be plastered in the newspaper or plastered on, online or whatever. But my junk this week was just kind of a sad one. Like my husband's dad, his sister passed away. And that was just a hard week. Like it was unexpected. She had kind of been sick and it really took a quick turn and she passed away. And that was hard on my husband, hard on his dad, because that's his only sibling. And I could sympathize with that, losing my brother,
right.
So I could feel how he was feeling. And so that was just a sad thing to, watch people grieve this week was really hard. And, how grieving's a weird thing because it's like, the family goes through all these stages and then everybody else goes back to their life and then they're left there grieving. And, everybody, it's good for a few days because you're around people. And her daughter told me, she said, it really just hasn't hit me yet. And I said, it'll hit you. It just, you're processing all the things.
That's
right
a podcast we need to do on grief.
Yeah.
Of course, I do have the background because I facilitate grief share. But that, that is one we should do because grief, you know what? It waits for you.
It does.
If you're busy, it waits for you.
That's right. Yeah.
We'll do that one time.
But our snack is from my friend Erin. And are these saltine crackers?
They're little baby premium crackers. Yeah.
Never seen a little mini saltine cracker before in my life.
And Erin, you would be so proud. This is my second batch. It's peanut butter, a little marshmallow. It's under the marshmallow.
Okay. Let me push the mic away. So I'm not doing it.
But I baked them, Erin. Of course, the first ones I baked and are they good? The first ones I baked and I burned, so I had to go back.
I mean, they're good. I mean, it's a little dry. I feel like it could. I mean, I'm not going to complain because you made them. So
it's okay. You owe me one.
Yeah, I owe you for sure. But they're good. I mean,
good.
They're really good. I like the little mini. They're kind of like a little bite-sized little snack. I'm going to eat the whole thing while we're ready to record the next episode. Thanks, Blair.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
So, Erin, I hope you're happy. Erin Williams, I hope you're happy that we got your
snack out
your little snack out there. So, if y'all have any good snacks, y'all send them to us. But we're glad that y'all hung out with us today and listened to us. Thanks to Keith at Freedom's Fence Line for just letting us come and hang out in his studio and record. We appreciate it more than he realizes. And so go check out Freedom's Fence Line and, join the junk too. All of our videos are on YouTube. And after we go live, you can go back and check them out. But hope y'all have a great week. And we look forward to next time. So love y'all big.
Okay. And praying Jesus is your joy.